Hi everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Natalie. If this is the first time that you're watching my videos, thank you for being here. I'm a Western tropical astrologer and I use a whole sign house system for all my forecasts and readings. In this video, we are talking about this upcoming week astrology forecast, and we are going to talk about March 2nd to March 8th. This week, we have our second eclipse of this eclipse season. How are you all doing from the first one, the solar eclipse of Aquarius? That was really loud one for the collective. I've been trying to do some recording of events that resonate with the energy, and it's really showing up a big time. Every time when I want to do a little short or will to talk about it, something happened. It's just really quite loud on a collective level. So tell me and share with me, how is it showing up for you in your natal chart? Which house is ruled by Aquarius? This is the first of a few more eclipses that we will experience down the road in the next couple of years, with the node shifting to the Aquarius and Leo axes. So this is only the very first, the beginning, sort of like a seeding moment. So for some of us, maybe we don't even know what is really happening. It might not really speak to us personally yet, but the story, the energy will continue to unfold in the next 6 months until we reach the next eclipse season. So you can just take a note and see what's been happening around you this couple of weeks. What is that Aquarius house of you in your natal chart is about? What are the themes, topic, areas of life? This week, the attention is shifting back into the Pisces and Virgo axes, as we have our total lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. But before we talk about it, let's talk about the first transit aspect that is happening this week. It's happening on March 2nd. We have Mars entering Pisces. Mars, being the fiery, action-oriented planet, is entering the vast mutable sea of water in the sign of Pisces. Very different energy. So when Mars enter Pisces, it's almost like that fire get put out in half by the mutable water sign Pisces. Yes, it means that Mars will have to act and express its energy in a different way, from a different way, more of a Pisces way, because now that Mars enters Pisces territory, it is inviting us to take action and our impulse from a different perspective. The Mars that we typically know is ruling Scorpio and Aries, meaning is oriented in action, it's initiative, it's fiery, it's passionate, it wants to just go off and do its thing. But Pisces is not like that. Pisces is like, no, let's not do it, let's just wait, let's feel. Instead of doing, let's feel a little bit more. Let's really feel how our emotions are at, where our emotions are at before we try to take actions. So you might find yourself using this energy a little bit more during this transit. Pisces is also about creativity, is dreamy, is about spirituality, it's compassionate, it's intuitive. So during Mars and Pisces, you might find yourself, if you have any creative endeavors you want to pursue, you might feel more called to do so during this transit. Pisces is also about shadow work, ancestral work, healing, therapists, the darker side, right? Is the deep. Pisces is about everything we cannot see. So during this Mars and Pisces transit, some of us might feel called in doing some healing work, some shadow work, going therapies, maybe healing some part that we have been neglecting or avoiding, or just feeling a bit more vulnerable in doing so, right? Pisces is also a very compassionate side. So during this Mars and Pisces transit, you might find yourself wanting to do more for the vulnerable groups in the society, right? Contributing, maybe volunteer, perhaps being in community with people, helping out, right? And with what is happening around the world during this transit, you might really feel called to do that. And especially with so many things being unraveled, you know, on a daily basis, so much is changing, so much is happening. And this Mars in Pisces transit is also inviting us to do our own shadow work, maybe perhaps some old ways of thinking, maybe some patterns, maybe our values might have shifted with what is happening, and we cannot just bypass them, and we have to face them, we have to deal with them, we have to do our own shadow work as well. And the downside, the shadow side, like I said all the time, all energies is like yin and yang, they have their light and shadow attribute. So on the other hand, Mars in Pisces can be avoidance, escapism, and even a little bit manipulative. It likes to work in the shadow, right? In that mutable water sign. So Mars in Pisces can, at its worst, it can be very manipulative, gossip, you know, playing games, doing something at the back, things like that, right? And it can be also escapism, avoidance, not wanting to do the work, bypassing, right? Because it's too hard, because it's too much, I can't deal with it, so I choose to avoid it, I choose to procrastinate. I'm going to take a 5 minutes break, but then it turns into 5 hours. So this is something to be mindful during this transit as well. But if we use it in a way that can benefit us, Mars and Pisces is also about listening to our intuition and taking action from that perspective. And instead of being emotionally manipulative, we can listen to our heart. What is it truly aligning, and take action from that perspective. So Mars will stay with us for the rest of the month until April 9 to 10, depending where you are in the world. Stay on the 3rd. We have our total lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. It is a blood moon, so if you can see it, it's going to be this gorgeous red blood moon in the sky, and I think it will go black for a moment as well. So I'm not too sure. I think it's on more of the west side of the Atlantic, and so probably, yeah, if you're west side of North America, maybe you can see it late at night, early in the evening, AM as well if you stayed up, I think, or it will be probably late afternoon or an earlier time zone. So this total lunar eclipse is happening in the sign of Virgo at 12 degrees 53 minutes. This is a south node eclipse, meaning that south node is in Virgo. So whenever we have a south node eclipse, is a point of releasing. There's this quality of diminishing and releasing when it happens. So all the usual Virgo typical things might not be widely available. So meaning perfectionism, being very logical and analytical, having everything in a systematic order, you know, staying organized, and self-criticism or judgmentalness. All these some of the qualities that can associate with Virgo during this time might be all mumbo jumbo. Virgo also relates to health. In medical astrology, it rules the intestine, the digestive system, detoxification. So during this time, maybe some of us are doing something related to that. I know Ramadan and Lent is happening, so we have to give up, some of us have to give up something and fast. So it kind of resonates with the Virgo energy as well. Take a look and see which house is ruled by Virgo, what are the themes, topics in that Virgo house. It is experiencing that energy. You might also feel like a little disorientating because all the mercurial thing, we're also in Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse because Mercury rules Virgo. So it can also feel like a double dose of Mercury retrograde this week, especially the early part of the week. So please be mindful with the energy, you know, space out your travel. There might be some big delays when it comes to you know, being on time, your public transportation or driving. There can be some miscommunication, so make sure you are, I know you can't live your life according to astrology all the time, but if there's any important meetings, contract that can be delayed, maybe it's best to delay and do that next week. And things like that as well. Tax snafu might come up, electricity, work, so on and so forth. Since Mercury is retrograding in Pisces, water related issues might be coming up as well. So we might see some crazy headlines regarding to those matters as well. Since it's also a lunar eclipse, there is things that just out of our control that we unfortunately just have to see what happens. This Virgo lunar eclipse is one of the very last eclipses along this Virgo Pisces axis that we are going to experience. We have a couple, one or two more later this year and early next year to conclude the whole story. But we are reaching sort of the end phase now. We have been experiencing eclipses along these axes, Virgo and Pisces, from the fall, September 2024. And we have the first eclipse in Virgo in September 2025. So that is like 6 months ago. That was when we have that solar eclipse in Virgo. So for something has been starting or initiate or started to unfold in the fall of 2024. Or for some, maybe this is earlier, half a year ago, September 2025. But they are continue to develop and unfold for you. And today on the lunar eclipse might reach a accumulation because it's a full moon essentially. So something is being brought into the light, maybe a realization, a development, maybe something is coming into fruition or something that needs to be known is going to bring into your attention this week. So yes, while this eclipse can be very confusing, disorienting, even frustrating because the ruler Mercury is in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So, and Pisces is a sign that Mercury struggle in, so it's like a double dose of Mercury malfunction basically. So this week for some of us, it can really feel like we are drowning, you know, like figuratively, not literally, but there are things just we can't find out, we don't know the answer, or we are just struggling to face it. We're struggling to keep it together. We might be not able to put things together just yet, and just know that it is happening. So give yourself some grace, give yourself others around you some grace, because clarity is going to be hard to come by this week when we have that double dose of Mercury retrograde energy and all the typical Virgo thing, you know, like want things to be certain way might not happen. And on the collective level, we might see just more noises, right? We might see different noise, different narratives of things. We need to make sure we fact check whether this is happening in your world or on a collective level. Don't take things by face value. Do your own research, you know, make sure you communicate, make sure you fact check yourself, make sure you are just not taking things as it is, because there might be miscommunication, you know. It might not come from a bad intention, you know, maybe it's just an honest mistake, but do your own diligence, you know, to fact check everything, to make sure you don't just jump to conclusion quickly. Even though this lunar eclipse can be quite messy, can be quite chaotic, and just sort of like lost in translation type of energy, there is a pretty nice aspect that is forming. So Jupiter in Cancer is sextiling the moon in Virgo and trining the sun in Pisces. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Jupiter also rules Pisces, meaning Jupiter rules Mercury that is retrograding in Pisces right now. So I hope you're following me layer by layer. So essentially the depositor of this lunar eclipse is Jupiter, because the ruler of this lunar eclipse is Mercury, which rules Virgo, but essentially is in the sign in Pisces, and Jupiter rules Pisces. So meaning Jupiter is ruling this Mercury as well, this retrograding Mercury. I do like this for us. It's almost kind of this aspect, having Jupiter trining the sun and sextiling the moon, is almost telling us that yes, the world is crazy right now. There is so much happening right now, and it's hard to, well, I guess it's not hard to make sense of it, but it's hard to face it sometimes. And it can be hopeless. It can feel fertile. It can feel just like, what can I do then? There's nothing we can do. The tech oligarchy is in control. There's loss of real journalism, the rise of fascism. There's toxic spirituality, political bypassing that is happening within different communities and people. And all this is like collapsing, falling apart. What's so good about it? But this sextile and trine with Jupiter, with the sun and the moon, is also telling us, yes, we are in the midst of a shit show right now, but somehow our soul decide to incarnate into this reality right here, right now. Why? Right? This is maybe to invite us to not give up hope just yet. The sun in Pisces, it is to remember that we are all connected, whether you like it or not, is the truth, right? No matter where you are, no matter what race, belief you associate with, we are in this together. We are interconnected. We need to center care for each other. Jupiter in Cancer and the moon in Virgo is how can we take care of each other in the midst of this crazy melting pot, right? How can we stay true to our values while some of them might be changing? And how can we remember the relationship that we have with each other, and the most unconditional loving relationship, which is you versus your Mother Earth, who is still holding you at this point, right? This is to remember the roles that our souls sign up to be in this lifetime right here, right now, at this pivotal time in human history, right? And this lunar eclipse is happening in the second decan of Virgo, which is represented by this 9 of Pentacle cards. And this lady looks so composed. She has everything. She's not worried. She's just sitting in her energy, knowing that everything is taken care of. Know that she has everything within her to make her dreams become into reality, to ground things into reality, right? She knows where she stands. She knows her worth. She knows that she is in relation with Gaia, which is supporting, which she gets to enjoy, right? And I hope this card also serves as a purpose to remind us that yes, we might not have everything we want right now. Maybe in your life, you're not where you are right now. There are things that you feel like you're lacking, that you still need to obtain, that is not perfect, right? I feel you. I'm there with you too. But this is to remember that you are enough right here, right now, even though you don't think so. But this is not the way to obtain what you want. You need to believe your worth. You need to believe yourself. Believe that you have what it takes to be where you want to be. And in order to do that, you need to know your roles in this ever-changing world, right? So I hope this helps in some way, shape, or form. It definitely gives me a little bit of pick-me-up. So remember, it's a chaotic time that we are in right now in eclipse season. Take care of yourself, take care of your energy, and if you can, take care of the others around as well. The next day, we have a little bit of a helpful energy coming in. Venus in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Taurus at 27 degrees. This can be a helpful moment because Venus is in its exaltation degree, 27 degrees in Pisces, which is lovely. So all the Venusian things today can feel a little bit more at ease, meaning relationship, creativity, you know, people that aligns with your values, right? This can be a great day with Uranus in Taurus. This can be a great day to be in community, to gather your ideas, to create something together, to organize, hang out with your tribe, right? Take action on your passion project, communicate your ideas, perhaps journal. Since it's Uranus, for some, there might be an incoming of good news. There might be a positive breakthrough or surprise when it comes to relationship, because we're talking about Venus, right? Or with any kind of relationship you have, or for, I don't know if it can be, but it can also be about finance and stock market as well, because Taurus talks about that. On the 5th, we have the Sun in Pisces trine Jupiter retrograding in Cancer at 15 degrees. So this trine happened during the eclipse. And today this trine between these two water signs is, I know it might not be possible for everyone, but this Sun trine Jupiter in two water signs is telling us it is okay to take a rest. It is okay to take time off, to get away a little, to take care of your energy, to retreat back to your home, to spend some me time doing whatever that feels right for you. Jupiter in Cancer. This is about retreating to your home, so spending some me time, being in home with, being a homebody, basically, you know, rest. Maybe because what happening during the first couple of days of the week with the lunar eclipse is still really raw. Maybe some of us, many of us are still processing what is happening, whether this is in your world, in an area of your life, or on a collective level. You know, we're all just watching everything. We need some time to process. We need some time to even just to escape a little, right? A healthy dose of escapism, okay? Not not to avoid, but to just take a break. So today calls for that. If it's possible, if you can, this is a day where I will suggest just spend some downtime with yourself. March 6th, Venus leaves its exaltation and enter Aries, a sign that it's in detriment. Whoops. But it just simply means that it's not like bad or anything. It just means that Venus needs to express its energy in Aries way. Okay, so Venus in Aries is essentially ruled by Mars. Venus in Aries is very independent, very fiery. It's free-spirited, is independent, is authentic. It's less lovey-dovey in some way, shape, or form. Venus in Aries is like, I center my relationship with people that truly align with me. So do we share the same vibe? You know, are we vibing? Do we share the same value? Do we see eye to eye? If so, great. If not, bye, you know. So that kind of energy. Venus in Aries is not hesitant to cut people off, okay? So they don't get mushy easily, but they do if you vibe with them. So this is about, what are you passionate about? What do you believe in about? What are you willing to fight for, right? Venus in Aries is willing to fight for you, is willing to be your ride and die, as long as you align with it, with their values, if you fight for the same thing, right? So we see, sometimes we tend to see not all, but we can see this signature in a lot of activists, people that are not afraid to stand up and fight for injustice. We usually see that. Sometimes it's more of Venus in Libra, but also Venus in Aries have that signature, more of the activists, because they are the one in the forefront, right? That not afraid to just like go and do it. And because of that, not all, please do not take it the wrong way, not all relationship might find a bit more tough and difficult during this transit, but because Venus in Aries is more independent, is more of a freedom seeking energy. So during this Venus in Aries transit, you might find yourself wanting to do that as well, or your partner, or people that are close to you. You might feel the need to have more me time, right? But of course, this is healthy if you are in tend to be codependent, right? But of course, the shadow side is that Venus in Aries can be very self-centered, even self-absorbed sometimes, because it tends to just focus on the self a little bit too much. That is the shadow side, but doesn't mean it's always like that. It's just how you use the energy. But at the same time, this is a great transit to be really honest and real with yourself. Like, what do you truly desire? What are your values? Like, what do you want in a relationship? What are your belief system, right? Are you stuck in a relationship, staying in a relationship because you're scared to be alone, right? Or are you in relationship with the partner, the friends, or the family members because it's comfortable, right? Because you do not want to rock the boat, even if you have to bite your tongue a little bit, right? But this is also a transit where you need to get real with your values, people that share that with you or not, right? But having Venus in Aries, this can be from a different perspective, because Venus do not just talks about money and relationship. It also talk about all the artistic pursuit, right? All the beautiful art and music and, you know, things that brings us joy. And when is it in Aries? Now with Neptune and Saturn in Aries as well, I feel like this transit can also activate a lot of artists and creative people, because of what is happening around the world firstly, and because of that hyped up energy in Aries, right? With Neptune and Saturn in Aries right now, we might see a transformation when it comes to all the Venusian expression, right? The art, the music, the poems, the movies or whatnot, right? All those artists, poets, musician, writer, they might find themselves using this transit to do some really fiery pieces, right? To express what is really happening, to express themselves, right? Through the lens of what is happening around the world. That might be an inspiration for them to express themselves in those art forms. We might see some punk rock, you know, very angry pieces, very expressive pieces, that is very authentic and liberating, but it's just, you know, dare to be different type of energy. We might see that during this transit as well, which I am personally not mad about it. So we will have Venus in Aries until the end of the month, March 30 or 31st, depending where you are in the world. On March 7, we are going to have a Mercury Cazimi happening in the sign of Pisces, 16 degrees 52 minutes. So a Cazimi is when the sun aligns with a planet, and in this case, this is Mercury. So Mercury Cazimi always happen in Mercury retrograde because it marks the midpoint of the Mercury retrograde journey. So today marks the midpoint of Mercury retrograde. So today or sometime around, because I also want to note that sometimes it might not be exact on the day. Some astrologer is very precise down to the time, the hour of the Mercury Cazimi. But I find that the whole day is a great window for that energy as well. So today, for some of us, this is going to be a day where we might see some clarity, solution, answer to our Mercury retrograde journey story. This can also be a day where you receive a download, have an aha moment or realization about things that was mumbo jumbo during the Mercury retrograde as well. And today we also have Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries at 1 degree. That might add a little bit to the Mercury Cazimi because it's also quite imaginative and dreamy aspect as well. So pay attention to all the signs, synchronicity, omen, or even your dreams. That might be a form that your message might come up, your realization might come through as well. And then Venus conjunct Neptune in Aries at 1 degree. This can be a day where also kind of like Mercury retrograde, you might be inspired to do something creative. You might, it's a great day to be a little bit delulu, to be honest, to use your vision, imagination, to dream a little, you know. Remember that sometimes in order to bring things into the 3D world, we need to first be able to dream it, to vision it, right? And in another point of view, this can also be, not all will resonate, right? But for some, this can also be a day where you meet someone or you go on a date, and this Neptune Venus conjunction is going to give you some googly heart eye emoji, and you might think that you're in love or this is the person. I say that because the next day on the 8th, Venus will conjunct Saturn in Aries at 2 degrees. So it's a very hot and cold aspect. You know, on the 7th, it can be a great day. You meet this person, you guys vibe, you have this heart eye emoji, and you are imagining life with this person. And the next day, Saturn's gonna hit you with reality, and you're like, ooh, maybe not. That might be a mistake. Yesterday, fantasy is going to turn into the regret today on the 8th. So that is not going to happen to everybody, but if you are someone that experienced this energy this week, I want to know because 1 in a million will experience this, I'm sure, right? So this can also be that. I do want to share all the possible aspects, but this can also be a day where, you know, this weekend you are having to balance your dream and reality, right? Maybe you want to do this thing, maybe you dream about doing this thing, but how are you gonna go about to really make it happen, right? So this can be the Saturn Neptune with Venus is giving you as well. Lastly, on the 8th, on the same day, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces, trine Jupiter in Cancer at 15 degrees. So this can be a day, this is happening late at night, by the way. So for many of us, we might be feeling this aspect Monday instead of Sunday. Okay, so this Mercury trine Jupiter can be a day where you have some supportive, helpful, healing conversation because it's between 2 water signs, right? And we also just have that Mercury retro Cazimi. It might be clearing some misunderstanding, you know, oh, I wrong you, actually, you know, I didn't mean it that way, or oh, you were saying that, but you know, actually the truth is blah blah blah, right? So this can be a day where you clear things up a little bit. There's some helpful energy coming in to support those conversations as well, right? And this can also be a aftermath of the lunar eclipse, the Mercury Cazimi, that you are processing what you're seeing now, your aha moment, your message, right? And what is coming up for you right now, what is being illuminated to you right now. So I know this is a lot, but always, like I said, these are all the aspects that is happening. Are you going to feel them all? Maybe, maybe not, because it really depends if they are aspecting, speaking to your natal chart, right? If you do have planets or point at those degree that I mentioned, it might be hitting you a bit more. You might be feeling those aspect or energy more than the others, right? It also depends what are you navigating through in your human story right now. So take a look and see what they all mean, right? Just take what is really resonating with you the most. And remember, some might be more of a collective energy, but it will ripple out. You will feel it too. So as always, take care. If you want a more personal consultation, my information are in the description box below. But in the meanwhile, take care, and I'll see you next time.